Great, thank you so much. My name is Shelby Stinnison, and I am the Copyright Services Librarian at Centennial College. And you might be wondering, what does copyright have to do with this pandemic? And it largely has to do with the fact that the area of copyright is constantly going through changes all of the time, and users and teachers and students and staff already have anxiety about making copyright decisions in their work. So inevitably, during this time, our services absolutely surged. So as you might imagine, there were some huge changes that occurred when we went to online teaching and learning. And these changes affected all of the service points that our copyright services team touches on. Electronic reserves, the way we license, whether it's with streaming videos or ebooks, our outreach and education programming, and our open educational resources supports and programming. For some further context, the Copyright Services team at Centennial consists of myself, a senior library technician, and several fantastic eReserves technicians as well. So, as you can imagine, there were so many barriers, but also a lot of opportunities that came when we moved online. Some of the things that went away were hard copy textbooks and physical course reserves. Sometimes stable internet connections, which made linking to web content difficult. And how do we deal with that in a copyright compliant way? The cost and availability of those texts was an issue. In-class video viewing, such as from a DVD. Interlibrary loan became unavailable for physical items, and obviously access to our physical collection. But look how many positives happened too. All of a sudden, there was an increased need for ebooks and library e-resources. There were teams developing and adapting and even just adopting open textbooks and open practices in their classrooms online. The eReserve service was all of a sudden given so much attention because online course readings were very necessary. Digital streaming video has increased, and we conveniently got a new platform to fill in our suite of streaming video, so an opportunity was there as well. There was a need for copyright support on web content, images, and online video, PDFs, and doing exams online, the terms and conditions of using new educational technologies, concerns for note sharing sites and infringing copies being spread around when teaching is now done online. And of course, we had a huge surge in supporting copyright compliance in online course development. As you can see, this new environment and paired with the existing uncertainty of copyright means an increased need for support. So the copyright world has also experienced some changes in the past 5 months as well, including a new certified tariff from the Copyright Board of Canada and a very recent case decision from the courts regarding fair dealing and the tariff. So the copyright world itself had a lot of change, and then our users did too. So of course, there was a lot going on at one time. Let's look at the numbers. Copyright sessions. These are 1 to 3 hours long and may be general or focused. Typically, these are done for new faculty orientations or for a department-specific group. Maybe they're working on a specific task or they just need a refresher. In all of 2019, from January to December, there were 18 sessions taught for faculty. In the 4 months from January to April, there were 25. Okay, so in a third of the time, there was a 38% increase over the previous year. So that was very busy. The copyright and e-reserves consultations, where we were dealing with, copyright compliance to do with course readings, finding alternatives, and what to do. In all of 2019, there were 133 of these consultations, either over email or the phone. And in the first 4 months of the year, there was 214. Okay, so again, a huge increase over the last year in total in just the first 4 months. And these were done by email and via Zoom. E-reserves items. Now, this was a real challenge because at first we didn't have remote access to our eReserve system. So we were depending a lot on training users using the web service instead of using our clients. So this increase is pretty phenomenal. We took advantage of library license resources more than ever before. OER, web resources, audio and video, and fair dealing, and all sorts of licensing happened as well. So for some context, in the fall semester, we had just over 1,500 items. And in the winter semester, January to April, hold on to your hats because I felt this one and so did our whole team, 8,600. It was huge. And I can't say that I'm not excited about this, but it was a lot of work in a very unexpected way. So how did we deal with this? It was an absolute surge of requests for support and education and technical linking and things. So, of course, this increased audience for copyright education and outreach is a real opportunity. Not only were we performing more and more sessions, but we also opened up virtual office hours with librarians to pair copyright education with information literacy and research skills so that faculty could really have a handle on what's available and where to go to find copyright compliant resources. Not only were the sessions increased, but the attendance rate soared. Usually in an in-person session, we usually get a 50% attendance rate based on who's registered. So say 10 people register, only 5 people show up. In this case, we were getting more attendees that registered, and I think that's largely because we could have many people from across campuses in one session. This was also a flashpoint moment for allowing faculty and students to realize that open educational resources are really important and really valuable. So this is also an opportunity to advocate for those sources and do the teaching around how to find them, adapt them, use them, and share them with students. So these opportunities won't go away anytime soon, but it was really important that during the time of the surge, we were also harnessing the fact that we had a large audience for some of our goals. So as you all know, there's an unexpected and rapid change, and this challenge set up a few other challenges, such as the influx of demand, as we saw in the numbers, but also the presence of very repetitive questions. So we would have so many emails coming in to me about YouTube and images and web sites and PDFs and things like that. So it was really important that when that surge came to me individually at my personal Centennial email, that I started forwarding it to our shared copyright email and to our librarian team. So those repetitive questions, if they were more specific to a subject area, could be triaged away. But it was also really important during this time to continue updating our frequently asked questions on our LibGuide and preparing resources that weren't quite ready, such as a LibGuide page about shifting to online teaching and connecting people to the technical resources as well. So we would get a lot of questions about the copyright compliance of a YouTube video, and it would bleed right into the technical aspect of how to actually add the video. So it's really important to kind of triage those things really quickly to the right person. Another challenge was the initial visibility of our copyright team and the resources and supports we offered. And to combat this, we started embedding ourselves into the Center for Teaching and Learning and got onto their academic continuity toolkit. We also sent out emails to the college for faculty and staff, but we also were embedded into those weekly sessions, faculty meetings. We have an online course that was promoted and is going to be promoted further. And we did outreach specifically to chairs and deans and online development teams to let them know what was available and that we were here to help.
Sorry, Shelby, I was timing and you're over time a little bit.
Okay, I'm almost done. So with our competing priorities, this is just talking about, the fact that my role touches on more than just e-reserves and these questions. It also deals with, licensing and all of that stuff. So the initial challenge of competing with work priorities while an influx is happening, but also dealing with, personal priorities and your health and keeping the workload reasonable. And I already mentioned we had some technology barriers as well, actually accessing our system. So I'll just be very brief. What worked for us during this surge? To be visible and to integrate with other departments and roles like librarians and staff. Make sure you're always giving updates and training to the other technicians and departments as well, like the Center for Teaching and Learning, the Accessibility Department, and other faculty. We also consolidated resources that we already had or that would help answer frequently asked questions in a simple way, whether it was on the LibGuide or in canned messages through the copyright email. We had to prioritize timing and be honest with patrons about when we could get back to them. So if something was for the fall, we'd prioritize something for the summer first and just be honest. Obviously, evaluating and assessing all of the data was really helpful in showing the impact and the surge in our services. So I highly recommend keeping stats as much as possible. Be resourceful, use what you already have. We were already using e-reserves, so we tried to get people to actually submit requests through that system to make it more streamlined. And of course, reflect. Be sure to iterate on what's working and what's not. Sometimes things don't work out the first time, and we certainly had a lot of that before we made changes. The last thing I have to do is thank this incredible team and stress that teamwork is of the utmost importance during a surge, whether it's copyright related or not. Thank you so much.